Welcome to Two Better Halves, the only husband-wife podcast that splits one topic in half and lets both sides have a turn controlling the discussion. Each week we discuss something important in our lives and give it 15 minutes equally. That's 15 to me, Lenton, and 15 to my better half, Sarah. We can do whatever we want with our 15 minutes. Ask any question, mute any microphone, and fight about stuff that will forever change our marriage. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Two Better Halves Podcast.
Jeez. Need some help there, baby?
I got it. Tonight I'm drinking a 1917 Miller Lite Fine Pilsner beer.
Just to be clear, it wasn't made in 1917.
Yes, it was. That's when the grapes were smushed.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
I can. It's very loud.
Yeah, well, I wasn't asking you. I was asking all of our listeners at home.
Well, they can't respond to you.
They can respond to me later. Let me know if you heard. What are you drinking, wife?
I have red wine of some sort. I'm not sure
She don't
exactly.
even know what sort it is. She just drinks it.
I mean, it's a red blend.
Jesus, I have too much beer in this can. A red blend. If you had to make a new wine that was a blend of two flavors that currently are not used for wine, what flavors would those be?
Well, I'm not sure if they're used or not, but I really like vanilla and orange. So if there
You're
was
just
a
picking vanilla, orange, Coke Zero.
No, I don't want there to be Coke in it, and I don't want it to be bubbly.
You just want flat Coke Zero with vanilla and orange and alcohol in it.
And the Coke pulled out, yes.
And the Coke pulled out. Well, it's flat. That's what makes the Coke pull out.
No, that makes the carbonation pull out.
That's what Coke is. Coke is carbonation.
Oh. Well, yeah, that's not good for me.
Yeah, you can't argue with that. You cannot argue with straight-ass facts.
It's true.
So I've got this lamp in my office, sitting at my desk right now, that looks like the moon. My mother gave it to me for Christmas. Christmas? Or my birthday?
Christmas.
Christmas. It is a touch lamp, and it changes colors. It's got like 9 different colors, I think. I use it so the dogs can see at night while they're sleeping.
It's important that they can see while they sleep.
Well, it's like, I think it makes you feel safer if, when you're asleep, it's also too bright to really sleep comfortably. Because you know if you need to open your eyes, you can see what you need to see.
This may be why you have some insomnia problems.
I do not have insomnia problems. I have trouble falling asleep. I don't have trouble staying asleep.
Yeah, that's what insomnia is.
No, that is, Jesus. That is inability to sleep ascites.
Can't argue with facts.
Can't argue with facts, and that is the theme of our podcast, as everyone will understand the more they listen to it. You cannot argue with facts, and if either of us ever says that, that's it. Argument over. Can we just establish that as a rule right now?
I mean, we can if there's legitimate facts involved.
Oh, God, legitimate facts. Okay, maybe not. Maybe that won't work then. If you had to have a planet that was a lamp, that wasn't the moon, which planet are you choosing?
Oh, God, it's Jupiter.
Why?
Because it's the biggest one.
Yeah, but then you're not going to be able to sleep because it's going to be so
You said
bright.
that I'll be soothed if it's more light.
I argued that I would be soothed, and you said, that's why you have insomnia. Gug.
First of all, I didn't make the gug noise.
Gug. That's my nerdage coming out of my throat. Gug.
So mean.
That's what nerdage sounds like. That's not mean. That's me paying attention to you to know what your nerdage sounds like.
But it doesn't sound like that, so you're not paying very good attention.
Well, what does your nerdage sound like? Give me the nerdiest thing you've ever said in your life. Probably something about that scientist job you used to have. Tell me something from your scientist job and use terms that I will not understand.
I worked on investigating wound healing and scar formation in lung tissue, so specifically looking at the clotting cascade.
I understand those. You're saying that you tried to figure out a way to make it where people don't bleed.
Yes.
Yeah, see?
See, that's how my nerdage sounds.
Well, your nerdage isn't that bad then. When we first got together, I was most... What is the word? What would you call it when I'm afraid you're going to leave me for someone else? It's a really
paranoid? Insecure?
Wow. Got a whole list to describe me. Sure, we'll go with paranoid and insecure. I was most paranoid and insecure about you leaving me for nerds. It wasn't like the hot athletic guys. I was like, she's going to find some guy that's super smart and loves reading books about math and loves looking at stuff under a microscope, and she's going to leave me for him so they can look at microscope stuff together.
Now, to be fair, you are super smart.
Not about microscopes.
Do read books about math. It's just called Dungeons and Dragons, but there's lots of math involved. And I feel like you would enjoy looking under a microscope.
It depends on what I looked at. If I was looking at like the World Heavyweight Championship, big gold, underneath a microscope, and I could see the fine work that they put into it, that would be really cool.
I bet if you were looking at insulin cells from a pancreas, you'd find that really interesting.
If I was looking at a pancreas or cells from a pancreas?
Cells, the ones that make insulin.
I don't know. What do they look like? Do they look like little gold championship belts?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I've never seen them.
Well, we need to get someone to volunteer. You don't need your pancreas. If you get rid of your pancreas, you'll be like me.
Everybody needs a pancreas.
Well, I don't have a pancreas.
You do. It just doesn't make insulin. It makes other stuff.
What else does it make?
Other digestive enzymes that aren't insulin?
Like what?
Digestivitis? I don't know. I don't know what the other ones are. But there are other ones.
I guess I don't need to worry about you leaving me for someone smarter. Because they will hear you say the term digestivitis. And that'll be it.
Yep.
Well, good. I guess we can stay married for just a little bit longer. All right. My friends, my wife, my strangers, my lovers. This is it. This is how this podcast works. 15 minutes to me, Lenton. 15 minutes to Sarah. We will be leading the discussion on each of our 15 minutes. As I have explained before, this is a great chance for both of us to get everything out in the open that we would like to get out in the open. Lead the conversation. If at any point I want to mute my wife, I can mute my wife. She'll need to be heard. If at any point she'd like to mute me and during her 15 minutes, of course, she can mute me. But she would never do that because she loves me. So, I will take my first 15 minutes to discuss in sickness and in health. All right, Sarah. Imagine this. I'm on my deathbed. The COVID-19 has slopped into my life and stabbed me in my precious diabetic little heart. And I ask you one thing to do for me before I die. What do you think that would be? What is the one thing I would ask for you to do before I leave this world forever?
I would love to think it'd be something sweet, like give you a kiss, tell you what it is I love about you, promise to take care of your daughter, but I feel like you would want to use it as a test to see how likely it is that I would do whatever crazy, ridiculous, outlandish thing you might request of me. So I can totally envision you asking me to kill someone.
Whoa! You think I would ask you to murder someone, to make someone's life end?
I do, just to see if I would do it.
But I wouldn't know if you did it or not.
I feel like you'd be able to tell by looking in my eyes whether or not I was really going to do it.
When I thought this is going to be the first question I ask, I did not expect you to say, he's going to ask me to murder someone. Do you think I'm going to mean it, or it's just to see how you react?
I think it's a test.
What does that mean?
You want to see how far I would really go for you, especially in a situation like that. How much I love you, how much I would be willing to sacrifice my own personal whatever to fulfill something that you had asked of me.
You don't think I'd be like, hey, yo, girl, let's do anal one last time? You think it would be, yo, girl, kill somebody. Right quick. Yo, ride up on that old bitch.
All right, well, there's two things here. One, yes, that is what I think. And two, you're not going to be in any position to get on that anal one more time if you're on your deathbed. You ain't even moving anywhere.
I think that, given the circumstances, strong power would flow through me, knowing that this is my last time and I apologize if you have experience being on your deathbed and you're hearing this and you're offended. I'm glad you're listening from heaven and or hell. But something would flow through me and I would just have the power to have sex one last time.
You know what? I hope that's true.
And it would be like, you know what? With my last dying breath, I'm gonna give it to you.
I would love it.
No.
I would love it if that is the case.
But you don't expect it to be the case. You expect me to say, yo, girl, kill somebody right now.
100%.
What the hell? You know, do you want to know what I thought it would be? Seriously speaking.
Sure.
I thought it would be take really good care of Scotland.
I said that.
Yeah, you said that you thought I might do that. Scotland being our daughter that we have together. I'd be like, take really good care of her. And I would ask you to stay in really good touch with my brothers. That would be the two things I would ask you.
All of your brothers?
All three of my brothers.
Aww.
I would ask you to stay connected with them and still be part of their lives. But you think...
And by connected with them, you just mean like friendly, not like in the old sense where like some brother inherited the wife when the brother passed away?
It depends on if I could get that last breath boner or not. Because if I can, then I know you're satisfied for the rest of your life. You only need it one more time. But if I can't, then I would have to choose a brother to finish the deed.
I couldn't get someone who's not your brother?
No. No, it would have to be one of my brothers. And I'll try to get all three of them here at some point, and we can discuss exactly which one. But it would definitely be all three. Now my next question, which I was going to say is more serious, but since you think I would kill someone...
You wouldn't kill them.
That's true. I would be responsible for it happening, I guess, technically. In what is the legal way? Like, it would... What would I be if I was like, hey, I want you to kill this person?
The crime, I think, is conspiracy to commit murder.
So I would be conspiracy to commit murder.
You would be a conspirator.
Murderer.
Yeah.
So, and I'd be dead.
Mm-hmm.
But you would be locked up forever.
Potentially.
For killing someone.
Potentially. I might get a shorter sentence if it was deemed that somehow you psychologically tricked me into doing it.
Would you be able to do that, you think? You're a pretty good actress. Do you think you could convince the court?
Well, I'd have to get a really good lawyer, but yeah, I think so. I think I got it. Getting 10 years, maybe 15 for like involuntary manslaughter.
But then that means you're not taking care of my child, and you're not staying connected to my brothers.
Yes, I am. I've got the three brothers to rely on. Someone else is taking Scotland, and they're coming to visit me on visitation days.
My brothers are not going to visit you if you are a murderer.
Oh, they are.
Wait, what is that supposed to mean?
If they knew I murdered them because you asked me to,
how are they going to know? I'm not going to tell anybody.
Well, I'm going to tell them. Daniel would believe me if I told him that.
Nah, he probably would. All right, let's get a. You were a initial believer that the coronavirus was not a big deal. You have openly admitted that. You lumped it into the whole. You were one of those.
Ugh, the flu kills so many more people. Don't worry about it. You guys are overreacting.
That's your nerdage stuck in your throat. At what moment did that change for you and it became obvious that this was more serious?
I don't know if I can pinpoint the exact moment. It definitely, because I work in healthcare, I was far more closely...
And what do you do, just for anyone who doesn't know?
I'm a manager of medical education, which basically means I help coordinate creating education that physicians need in order to maintain their licensure.
Okay.
So because of that, I was having to keep a much closer eye on the trends just as a part of my job. And watching the numbers go up sort of exponentially in other countries, in particular Italy, was very startling. And especially when they started to report that hospitals were going to be overrun and that was going to be an issue. I think that was when I really started to realize how serious the event was going to be, not necessarily because I was going to get sick. That's not where my concern is. But knowing that there are a lot of people that I care for that would fit into the demographics that are more likely to get sick, and if they're in a situation where they can't get the extra hospital support that they would need in order to make their outcomes more likely. Because a lot of these deaths that they're seeing in Italy are really because there's people who can't get the support services because they've maxed out capacity.
Okay. And at this point, your job there has evolved pretty intensely, yeah?
Yes. So I actually just found out earlier today, too. I sit in sort of the communications team, which not surprisingly, people who are in communications, especially within hospital systems, are being pretty heavily pulled on with hour-by-hour updates being needed for patients, for people who work in the hospitals, for other administrative people, for physicians who they have to collaborate with. There's a lot of communications being involved. And so, like most hospital systems, we set up a task force, which is responsible for identifying all the different things that are going to change as a result of this. And as a part of that committee, we had someone who was called the planning chief, who's responsible for making sure that anything that needs to be done is captured. People are put together on teams to actually attack and address those issues. Timelines are being met. Any obstacles are being pulled out of the way, and that we continue to move forward because there's so many things to think about, from moving to telehealth services to having enough protective equipment for stakeholders to having plans in place for if stakeholders get sick and how do you cover for those people who are no longer there. So I was sort of picked as the understudy, for lack of a better word, for the main person in case she were to get sick or one of her family was to get sick, and making sure that there was sort of a seamless transition. I just heard from her about an hour ago that her son's daycare had someone test positive for COVID.
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
So she is now saying that it is likely that she will have no childcare options for the next 2 weeks and may have to pull out, so I may be stepping in to fill her role at least for the next 2 weeks.
So yesterday you were asked to be the understudy, and now today it seems like that's almost definite.
Yes, that I will be taking over for her at least in the short term for the next 2 weeks until she can get daycare issues resolved. So essentially my regular job has been put on hold because what I do primarily involves live events, which obviously are discouraged currently, especially for physicians who are going to need to be on the front lines taking care of patients. And so I've sort of gotten a new job in the last couple of days, one for which I did not apply, nor am I immensely qualified for, but I am organized and efficient, so hopefully that will be enough to help me help them make the right choices.
And I don't want to ask you to say anything bad about the company you work for, but how prepared do you think they actually are, if you are comfortable answering that?
I feel like we're in a much better position than a lot of health systems because, one, we don't have an emergency department. And so that's the people who have emergency departments are going to be the hardest hit because that's where all the floods of people are going to come in, especially in a country where there's going to be a lot of people who are wanting to come in for testing who don't have health insurance. And that's really the only way that they can access those kinds of services is through an emergency department. The other thing I think that we have working to our advantage is I feel like we were very proactive in terms of identifying that there was going to be a need and an issue and getting things stood up. I was told not to come into work starting last Friday, which is a lot earlier than a lot of companies have told employees to stay home. And I think that, that's probably because it's healthcare. And so they're paying a lot closer attention. And they really understand sort of the implications and impact that these sort of things might have.
Your job is very important.
I think my regular job is kind of important. I do think that this role that I'm being pulled into right now for this task force is even more important.
All right, let's flip it. Since you are obviously someone really important and deserves all the money, I, on the other hand, am a manager at Pizza Hut. Ladies. Yeah. Pepperoni.
Ow.
Sausage. Mushroom. Make room in your mush for me. And we have been discussing pretty much all day what I should do regarding going into work because I am also a type 1 diabetic. And as we know from everything we've been hearing, I am more likely to die. Is that an okay way of putting it?
I think that's an okay way to put it. I would say likely to have complications.
Likely to have complications. And
I would
Wow,
say
that's
they
funny to you.
need to
You
be
did.
on a ventilator. But
On a what?
Ventilator.
A ventilator? I ain't gonna be no ventilator. I look dumb. So we've been discussing if I just got promoted last week, if it would be career suicide, basically, for me to be like, hey, yo, I really don't want to get this thing because of my health condition. Yo, I don't want to come to work anymore. And we've been going back and forth about what I should do. Me. And I'm going to stick to work for a little bit longer, see if it gets a whole lot worse. But if you were me and I was in your shoes and I was making the majority of the money, as you do, and I had this really important job and you had type 1 diabetes, what do you think you would do? I have yet to ask you this. What are you doing in my position if the choice is up to you?
So I think given the current situation and the fact that you don't have a sit-down restaurant where there's going to be 50, 60, 70 people in the restaurant. And the fact that your company has started to take some precautions where possible, having people pay in advance, offering the option where the pizza can be left at the doorstep. Some of those options, there's not so many people coming in and out of your building that, at least for the next day or two, especially since it's just been over a weekend, really just practicing over the top hand hygiene, trying to find ways, whether it be...
Hand hygiene?
Yeah, washing your hands, using hand sanitizer, that kind of thing.
The old hand hygiene.
And then finding ways to avoid touching my face, because most of what they're saying out there now is the majority of cases they've been able to track back. It seems like it's people get particles on their skin and then touch their nose, their eyes, their mouth, and are transmitting it to themselves that way. And so anything that you could do that would prevent you from touching your face and keeping your hands as clean as possible, because the one good thing that we know is that this virus is incredibly susceptible to alcohol, hand washing, soaps, detergents. It dies really quickly. It is not very hardy.
What would you have to hear to then decide I'm not going to go to work anymore? At this point, we already know we're in Georgia. We're at, I don't remember what the last of it. We've had a death in our county, in our city from this. What would you then have to hear to decide, okay, I'm going to pull the plug now?
So in New York, they've gotten to the point where they've been able to say, we know we will run out of supplies and space in 2 weeks unless something drastic happens. That is a very finite window of time where you really understand where the apex of this is going to be, and that this is where the critical mass is and people who get infections after that. And especially given that there's a sort of a 2-week incubation period, that would be where, if you have, you would want to make sure.
I'm going to have to cut you off right there in that advice that I really wanted to hear. That's it, though. That is my 15 minutes. That cannot be talked about anymore. Nothing that has to do with that. That means for you now, you can lead the discussion. Main rule being, you are in charge. You cannot bring up anything from this last discussion. We cannot pick up a conversation that we left. This is now your 15 minutes. Begin, my wife.
So dramatic.
Begin. I hopefully have added a bloink, blank, bloink, splink sound effect or something. But if you're hearing this and you didn't hear that, I got too busy. Sorry. Wasted my 15 minutes. Girl. Shit. Go ahead.
So one of the first things that happened for us was that we got the announcements that schools were going to be canceled.
Oh, God.
And we have 3 children that range in age from high school, middle school, and elementary school. And
that's not an age.
I'm sorry. It is an age range.
Oh, I guess that's true.
So I guess I wanted to get your thoughts on what were your first thoughts when you heard that they were canceling school?
When they were canceling school?
Yes.
Okay. My very, very, very first thought was after we knew you were going to be working from home, though.
Yes. A day after.
A day after. So I was not worried about it because I knew that I was not going to be doing it alone. If I would have been doing it alone, I would have driven myself insane, because before our daughter started school, I was the stay-at-home parent because I got diagnosed with diabetes, and then we had a kid, 10 months after that? Not much longer after that. So I just did it all. I was decided, okay, I'm going to figure out this diabetes thing. I'm going to stay home with this kid. It's all going to be perfectly fine. I'm going to figure it out. So I did that. And that was really hard, y'all. I didn't like it. So the thought of having the kids here all at once by myself would have been really, really scary. But I knew you were going to be here, and you've worked from home a lot of times, and you're always interactive, even when you work from home. Unless you're on a phone call, you're going to help out as much as you can. And really, at this point, with our kids' ages, they just need to be responded to. You don't really have to get up and do a bunch of stuff with them. So I wasn't really worried because you were going to be here, and I knew that would be great. I was concerned about you having to be alone with them more than anything, because I knew I had to work, and I didn't want to leave you with all of them so much, because I don't know what happens when I'm not here and you're working from home and the kids are here. I'm assuming it all goes fine, but I'm not there for that, obviously. So I was worried that you were going to get burnt out, because I have sort of already been burnt out and then unburnt out, then burnt out again, and then not burnt out again, because I did it for 3-4 years. Although I'm sure, considering that the other two kids are my stepkids, you've been burnt out many, many times by them. But yeah, I wasn't worried about myself personally.
So one of the things that we've seen now is, since that they initially canceled school, they've already extended the time. I can foresee that they will likely extend the time again. What's
it at right now?
It's at the March 31st is when our schools are saying that they're going to go back tentatively with the ability.
That's only what is that, 8 days, 9 days?
Yes.
All
now,
right.
after 3 days after that is what was scheduled to be our spring break. So it is very likely they will extend it right into the spring break and then make a decision after that. But the state of Kansas has already decided to close schools for the rest of the school year.
Gross.
Which means that it's not just the kids being home, but it's the kids being home and trying to help supplement their school. I know that you have some experience with being homeschooled.
Some experience? I was homeschooled forever.
So I was just curious as to your thoughts on that, both from your own perspective as being homeschooled, and then your thoughts of how we're going to tackle it if we need to start really pushing the homeschooling with them.
That sounds so terrible. I think the big difference is I was homeschooled back in the day before computers were a thing. And already now we have our kids that have a good bit of stuff that is on their, like when they have homework, it is done on the computer almost 100% of the time. It's, okay, you go to the computer and you do your stuff. And they've been taught to be very independent with that. I was dumb. When I was homeschooled, I was a dumb kid.
I can't imagine that.
I'm a dumb kid now. I am not book smart. So when I think back on me being homeschooled, I remember being bad at stuff, and I remember needing a lot of help. My mother was very, very, very hands-on when we were homeschooled. That may be just because she loved us and she wanted to be hands-on, but I like to think it's because I was really dumb and I was bad at stuff.
You like to think that?
I like to think that I was just a big dingus butt and I couldn't figure out how to do a math. But I don't remember. I don't remember much of it. I see pictures, and in all my homeschooling pictures, I have my mother next to me. Admittedly, I was a big mama's boy when I was growing up, so I'm a big mama's boy now. I love my mommy. And I think the kids these days are way more independent. I think public school exhausts you being around an adult telling you what to do. So then when you need to do homework, having it be an independent thing is what you prefer to do. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Never been to a public school. Never been in a class in a public school. Never been taught by a teacher or anything. But to me, our kids are very much, if you say, hey, let me set this up on the computer and now you can do it, they're all about that. And they can do it easily. So if it comes down to we have to homeschool the kids, don't get me wrong, there's 3 of them, so I'm really not excited about it, and I really don't want to do it. But I think all of our kids are smarter than I was, and they're more prepared for homework than I was. I really hated it. I didn't go to college, obviously, since I'm a Pizza Hut manager, because I hated school so much. I hate having to read books and answer questions about books. That sounds so terrible. Ugh. I'd rather just read a book and then not answer tests about books. Sounds terrible. God, why would anyone go to college? And that's the main question. Why would anyone go to college? If you're listening to this...
is not your time to ask questions.
That was a rhetorical question. Why would anyone go to college? Because everyone knows the answer is we shouldn't, because college sucks.
I don't know. I went to college a lot.
Yeah, you went to like 9 colleges.
Not quite, but yes. So the next question I have for you is, we're in this situation where it's social distancing is encouraged to help flatten the curve. And I think that we've both been really trying to do our part on that. Obviously, you've said that you've had to go to work, which is unfortunate. But where we can, we're definitely making the effort to not be out in public or in large groups. What is the thing that has been the hardest for you when it comes to that?
Definitely the nitwits. Nitwits is the improv troupe of our county. I am the improv director. I was named improv director over a year ago. It's something I always wanted to be director of. I've been involved in theater forever, as long as I can remember. And I finally was named improv director. And when I was named improv director, the first couple of shows under my umbrella were not super well attended, and I started to get nervous, and I started to feel like I wasn't good at this, and I was bad at encouraging people to invite their family and friends to fill the house. But the last 2 shows were huge sellouts, huge successes, and then we're told, reasonably, don't get me wrong, I absolutely 100% support this, that we need to pull the plug on any sort of community theater activities, and I miss that so much. I miss every Saturday going and helping people have the highlights of their weeks and sending them home being super, super happy and excited and ready to tell more people about the shows and ready to learn new things. I miss that more than anything. The only other thing that I used to do every week besides work and nitwits was I'd play Dungeons and Dragons at my friend's house, who I met through the improv troupe. And I definitely miss playing the Dungeons and Dragons, but it wasn't as reliable. Like, we couldn't play every week. I think anyone who's ever played Dungeons and Dragons knows it's like one of the rules in the rule book is that you can't meet every week. Somebody has to have an issue, and for some reason you can't play. So there was, maybe once or twice a month we were actually able to play. And I definitely miss it, but not nearly as much as the improv troupe, where I had to be there every week because I had the key and I was the director. And if it sucked, that was on me. So if I wasn't there, the whole thing... Not that the whole thing can't happen. It could happen without me. But I had to be there. And there were plenty of times where the fact that I had to be there is the only reason I went. That I just wasn't feeling it. I did not want to go. But then every time I'm there, I'm super happy I was there. So that has been the biggest change for me, is having my Saturdays free. I don't know what to do with them. Like, yesterday was Saturday, right? What do we even do? I cut the grass.
Yes.
I cut the grass.
I cleaned the pool.
You cleaned the pool. This is sad.
We took Skyline outside. Pushed her on the swings.
Pushed a kid on a swing. That's it? God, did we even play video games yesterday?
Well, I got up super early and exercised with my roller derby team, and then I did all the prep for the phone call was on the phone call.
Oh, stop bragging. I didn't do those things.
No, I fully expected you to say that Nitwits was going to be the thing.
I sat around and I
hardest.
cried. That's what I did yesterday.
That's a lot of work, though.
It's not a lot of work. You just lay there and you go, ooh.
Oh, no, it is exhausting. I never feel more tired and, just drained than when I've really cried.
When's the last time you cried?
I don't know. Maybe a month or 2 ago.
Why?
I'm sure we got in a fight about something and I cried.
Wow. You are sure that we got into a fight? There's no possible way we didn't get in a fight.
No. It's 100% certain.
That's really sad. I can't think. We haven't gotten in a big fight in a while.
No, it's
We're
been a while.
We're about to if you keep this shit up.
Yeesh. All right. Well, on the Converse side, then, what's the thing?
Converse,
that's been,
like the shoe?
No, not like the shoes. What has been the thing that you've been most excited for, or that's been the most fun?
Most excited for, the most fun about having to be home all the time because I might die.
Yes.
Goodness. Probably knowing you're here every morning would be up there. There's our child. Hey, child.
I need your help. I can take a picture of my hair.
This all goes to your 15 minutes. Look at that. Look at her. Look at her stealing your 15 minutes. Yes.
She's stolen a lot more than my 15 minutes.
What else did she steal?
I mean, she stole my figure.
Nah, she made it better.
She's gonna steal, like, my 40s.
Good night, Scarlett. Good night.
Go. 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 It is
We'll
a
be up there
picture of your
soon.
hand.
No, it isn't.
See you in 6 weeks.
That is not.
Good night.
What was I talking about? Oh, knowing every night when I go to sleep that you're going to be there all day the next day.
Aw, what a sweetie.
Not just because I like being around you, but I know you're safe. I do not like how you have to travel for work all the time. You haven't had to travel for work. Before this corona thing happened, you were going to be gone, what, 4 different times in March? In April combined?
Yes.
Overnight
and then once
trips.
And once in May.
Wow, you didn't tell me about that one.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
That one's on the calendar.
Yeah, but the calendar doesn't mean anything now.
Well,
I've thrown away the calendars.
I mean, probably makes sense at this point. But at the time where it did matter, it was on the calendar.
Well, I hate those things when that happens. So knowing that you were going to be here is the most exciting part. Granted, most of the time we don't do a lot together. And we're both, even though we're at home, we're busy doing other things. But knowing, hey, she's going to be downstairs when I go down there. She's probably not wearing a bra. Is always really exciting.
It is true. There's been a lot of pajama pants
What?
and
Wait,
braless
what?
shirts.
What is a pajama branch?
It is when you're trying to say pajamas and bra at the same time, and it comes
Oh
out
my
pajama
God,
branch.
it's like a combination of bra and pants.
Yes.
Brands.
Brands.
That is the greatest thing. You guys, someone out there, please make a brance. It's pants and bras, and it's hooked up. Like, I don't even know how
Like
it would work.
suspender style or like on the side?
I don't know. I don't have boobs. That makes me so happy.
I mean, I think it's more about aesthetics than it is actual functionality.
Oh, my God. I want to... Oh, my goodness. I don't know. That's so dumb. I love it. Brants. Golly, you're not as smart as I thought.
See? You got nothing to worry
I
about.
got nothing to worry about. You can't even say bras and pants separately.
I mean, I can. It's just much more fun to say brands.
The most fun thing has been how... Golly, none of it's really been fun per se. Because I'm really scared. But it's been fun. Memes. Memes have been a lot of fun. I really like memes. Been finding some good memes. Doing this is really fun. I've been really excited about doing this. I've been thinking about this every day. We finally have had time to do it. Not that it really counts because our kids showed up anyway, so we could have done it any time because she was just going to show up. I've seen my friend that lives downstairs. He rents out our basement. I've seen him more and actually hung out with him because he's at home too, quarantining. We played video games together today, and we just have talked almost every day. That's been really fun. We haven't had more sex now than we did before.
No.
No, I guess because the kid, like, it's always there.
Yes.
Not had more sex. Maybe less sex.
Maybe.
Because I don't know why. Why have we had less sex?
I mean, I think it's stressful, and so there's a lot just in terms of emotionally in your head.
Damn! Now I don't get to find out why my wife feels like we've had less sex because her 15 minutes is freaking up, y'all.
Wah, wah.
So here's going forward. We'll spend the last bit of our time on this podcast answering questions from you regarding this topic. But since this is the first episode, we obviously don't have that here. But like I said, follow us on Instagram at Two Better Halves Podcast and on Facebook at Two Better Halves Podcast. And you'll find out the theme and the discussion topic every week. And you'll be able to submit some questions, maybe something really funny that you feel about it. And we'll talk about it here as a way in our show. But of course, we don't have that. So any last words from you, wife?
It was a lot of fun. Certainly makes dealing with the situation a little bit easier to be able to talk about it, and I enjoy you, so
Ooh.
You got a hot voice, so
Ooh,
thanks.
I got a hot voice. I'm going to get her out of them brands here in a minute. All right, everyone. Find us on the internet. And as always, I love you. All right, we're going to play a game. This is called Sex, Marry, Kill. A lot of people have heard this game before. Sometimes the F word is used. But I'm going to try my best not to use the F word during this podcast.
That won't be a problem for me.
No, because you don't cuss. And in this game, we're going to give you 3 options. You have to choose to have sex with one, marry one, and kill the other. They'll all be based on works of fiction, so we don't have to get too in the weeds of people we personally know or famous politicians. I'm not going to ask you to pick between Elizabeth Warren and Tom Cruise and the guy who played the one kid in Malcolm in the Middle.
We're getting kids involved?
No, he doesn't. He's not a kid anymore. The guy who played the one kid in Malcolm in the Middle.
But there was 3 kids.
Yeah, but they're all grown-ups now. I'm talking about the
which is
youngest
the one kid?
No, Malcolm in the Middle has the 3 boys. They're all kids.
I know, so which is the one kid you're talking about?
The littlest one. Because I know one of them is the guy who's in That 70s Show. The other is Frankie Muniz. And there's the teeny one who's probably like 30 now.
The one is not the guy from That 70s Show. He's the brother of the guy from That 70s Show.
The point is, you don't have to choose him to have sex with. So I'll try to give you 3 works of fiction. 3 characters from fiction? Yeah, there you go. And just to make it where no one can cheat. Marrying someone means you are marrying them and you are doing what people will normally do when they are married. That means you're trying to start a family. You're sleeping in the same bed.
So you're having sex with 2 of these 3?
Yeah. One of them is married sex, which isn't the same as hot cheating sex.
Oh, no. Married sex is way hotter.
Nah, gross. But so if you're married, you are trying to do the married things that you would do. If you choose the person to have sex with, that is the one character, person, maybe animated dog that you can cheat on your significant other with.
So this is multiple. No, this is not like a one-night stand.
Oh, no. You can bang them as much as you would like, and they will be into it. You can have sex with them. And to kill, you are sliding a knife into their heart while making eye contact.
I was going to ask if you had to look
Oh,
them in
yeah,
the
you
eye.
got to look them into their soul and be like, there it goes. And we might change the rules of it, but for now, those are the specifics of this. So here's what we're going to do. Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and Freddy Krueger.
Okay. Well, as a child who grew up on these movies, I absolutely would marry Freddy. He's got the funny. He's going to make you laugh. He's going to be there to entertain you for the long haul. And he's going to be in your dreams, too. So, there's that. You know what? In terms of just having the sex, got to go with Jason. Michael's got some serious family issues that are a little disturbing, and I don't know how I feel about how he feels about his sister. So definitely gonna have to kill him.
Who are you killing?
Michael Myers.
And then you're having sex with Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
What position?
Well, I don't want him behind me because Lord knows what he's gonna do with that knife.
Is that what you call it, that knife?
Yeah.
So like missionary with like deep mouth kissing?
No.
Or I guess deep plastic kissing?
Yeah, no, I think with any of these, I've got to be in control, so I'd have to be on the top.
That's true. You'd have to be on top so you can control it. I think the most horrifying of them is Freddy. Because in your dreams, it's so hard to control. So I'd say you got to kill Freddy.
You're missing out on the laughs.
Yeah. I guess I am. God, but then the other 2 are basically the same ones.
And they really don't talk, so you pretty much
Yeah, they
just
really
be
don't.
like a silent partner in your relationship.
Like it is now. Let's see. Jason Voorhees gets killed at the camp, right? He drowns. Mm-hmm. His mom has something to do with it?
When he's a kid, yes, and his mom is actually the killer in the first
His mom's
movie.
actually the killer. I think I'd go with marrying Jason then. Because we know he doesn't have a good relationship with his mother.
But no, he does have a good... That's the thing. She's going to be that meddling mother-in-law. She's going to be over every day making sure you're being nice to her baby boy or you're out.
Nah, because he knows that about her, that he's not going to let her come there. She'll let him come, but she's not going to...
I think you're setting yourself up for a world of mother-in-law pain.
Nah,
You do you.
he specifically will keep the mother-in-law away because she does drown him.
She doesn't drown him. The mean kids at the camp are making fun of him and he drowns and nobody saves him.
That's the same thing. Mothers are responsible for every child's death.
That's why she goes and she kills everybody who was responsible.
Okay, I have not seen this movie in a long time. The only part I remember is when the two kids are doing it in the bunk bed and one of them dies.
So when I was a kid, my mom used to tell me about this movie before I had seen it. And she always talked about the scene where the two kids were playing on the bed, and they were playing on the bed for a really long time, and then one of them got stabbed. And so when I watched the movie for the first time, I saw the scene where they're doing it on the bed, totally dismissed it, waited the whole movie for the scene where the kids are playing on the bed, and was like, what the hell? There's no scene with kids playing on the bed. I realized that she was just, kid-friendlying it up.
She's
for me.
kid-friendlying it up so you don't look at pornography.
I mean, she was talking about a horror movie to me and people being stabbed through a bed, so I don't know how much kidded up it was, but she tried.
One of the my favorite memories with my father was we had rented Titanic at the little VHS rental store, and we had never watched it before, so no one knew what to expect. But when her titties came out, the girl Rose, when Rose's titties went flopping out, so Leonardo could DiCaprio them on a piece of paper. My mom freaked out, and she's like, "Oh, we got to cover this up. They can't see that." And my dad took the TV remote and muted it, and he said, "Don't worry, I muted it." So my mom actually stopped for a second. I was like, "Oh, okay, good." And then realized that we could all still see the titty. We just couldn't hear the titty.
When I was a child, in order to censor things like titties popping up unexpectedly on the screen, we had the slipper censor. And it consisted of my dad taking his shoe off and holding it up in such a way that potentially from the angle where you were sitting, you wouldn't be able to see it. All you would be able to see is the slipper.
Did it work?
No, and actually I don't think it was intended to. I think it was just intended to be showing that there was the effort being made to try.
What kind of movies did you watch as a child?
Pretty much anything. I don't remember a single time in my childhood being told I could not watch a movie.
That was my entire childhood. My entire childhood was just being told I couldn't watch things. So it seems like you had the better childhood. So therefore, I am allowed to be a broken human. I can be like, oh, wow, I can't be expected to be nice to people. I had a bad childhood.
I mean, everyone is allowed to be a broken human, but you should be
I should be encouraged to be a broken human.
No.
Because I wasn't allowed to watch Jason Voorhees kills a couple of campers while they fuck.
You can watch it now. So that should fix you. Right? If anything that you weren't allowed to do in your childhood or bad that happened to you in your childhood, the opposite happens now, that should immediately fix all the problems, right?
That would have been nice to know when I was a child. Because it's one of those things of, hey, you're not allowed to even see a PG-13 movie without us around. So then once you realize that porn exists, you just deep dive into it. I mean, we could do a chronicle of episodes on pornography.
I would have very little to talk about, but yes.
Well, I have a lot to show you in the next couple of weeks that will surely change your mind and scar you for life. Because the thing about pornography is the things that I remember the most from pornography are the terrible things. It's not like, oh, I remember this one really hot girl and this really cool scene that makes me feel excited and that I can do anything in life and makes me feel like I can make love to my wife. It's like the horrible, graphic, disturbing things that I saw that stick in your mind.
See, when I was going through all of the sexual development, this is where our age gap shows a bit. It was, full-scale VHS tapes. There wasn't a whole lot of the internet porn that existed. So,
and what year was this that you would have been going through your sexual peak?
Well, I don't know, but when I first started exploring sexually, I would say probably 90?
90?
Yeah, 1990.
The year 1990. I was 2.
Well, I was 12 and 13, so...
So while you were exploring your Gucci, I couldn't even walk yet.
I hope you could walk when you were 2.
Like, can 2-year-olds walk?
Yes!
Wow, it's been a long time since I was 2.
Scotland was like 10 months when she walked.
All right. I couldn't even, oh, God, what can 2-year-olds not do?
I mean, most of them can talk. There's, they can do most things.
I couldn't do a backflip.
Probably not.
Probably couldn't do a backflip.
Most 2-year-olds aren't potty trained, although some are.
I couldn't even recite every WCW World Champion.
Are you sure? I bet you could.
When I was 2? Nah,
Yeah.
My earliest memories of wrestling were not when I was 2.
So they were when you were...
Like 5? It was when...
I don't know. You could easily be getting 2 and 5 confused. Those
All right.
numbers look the same, but backwards.
Tell me more about your exploration into sexuality when you were a child in the year 1990.
I
When
don't know.
telephones were made out of rocks.
This was back in the days of the scrambled porn, and so you would and not even necessarily the hardcore porn, but like Skinamax, Showtime at night.
Yeah, I totally know.
Yeah, and so you just finagle with your cord, and you could get like glimpses of things through the scrambled porn.
Any porn is scrambled porn if your monitor is bad enough.
I didn't have a monitor. I had a tiny little 12-inch TV that had the built-in VCR cassette tape thing in the bottom that I had saved up for a really long time to get. I was so proud of my little tiny TV.
Wait, you were 12 years old and you bought your own TV? Mm-hmm. Just to watch porn?
No! I bought the TV when I was a little bit younger because I had really bad insomnia when I was in middle school. And so it was something that I could do to keep me entertained. And I would spend hours on end watching Nick at Night. Classics like My Three Sons and The Donna Reed Show.
Never heard of these shows before.
And Mr. Ed.
I know Mr. Ed. That's the one with the horse.
Yes.
And then one day you're like, you know what? This horse is a bitch. Let me see if I can find some big-ass titties.
I wasn't really looking for the titties, but yes.
What were you looking for?
The penises.
Whoa! Censored? You can't say penises.
That's not a swear word.
I didn't say it was a swear word. I said it bothered me emotionally.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You have never known a single penis except for mine.
But I like them, so...
Whoa, calm down. Jeez Louise. I apologize to all the listeners at home that can now hear that my wife likes penises. Golly. That is graphic. And then one day, you're just scrolling through your, I guess you don't have a TV guide. What is it? You're just flipping channels?
Yes. I did have a remote. I didn't have to walk up and use a
Do
knob.
the little dial thing? Yeah.
No.
And you're like, let's see what else is on. I don't expect there to be big old dinguses. Because I'm assuming you didn't know that you would find that on your TV, right?
I actually don't remember, but I would not be surprised if I did, because we definitely talked about things. And
Who?
So,
Who's we?
me and my friends.
Oh, okay. I thought your parents were like,
No.
hey, here's a slipper, but if you get on your TV when we're not around and you look around, don't worry, there are no slippers. You'll see dinguses.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really say that, but I have a feeling that had they known that I was doing it, they wouldn't have cared.
Whoa!
I mean, it's harmless. I'm not hurting anything.
You're not hurting anything to see gigantic dinguses on your TV.
I mean, not really.
I thought you said this was like softcore porn. There shouldn't be dinguses on there.
Well, I mean, you would see them. You just wouldn't see, the penetration and things like that.
Golly.
You're asking the questions I'm answering.
I know, but I don't want to picture a little... when my daughter is 12 years old, she better not be looking for giant dinguses on her little dial TV that she saved up all her money for.
She's gonna.
When she's 12.
Yes.
No, she's not.
Probably sooner.
What? Why?
I think I was probably about 8 or 9 when I started masturbating.
Dear God. I apologize, everyone. I still have yet to masturbate, and I'm 31 years old.
That is a blatant lie.
Oh, you're right. I'm 30 years old in a couple months.
That's not true either.
Well, it's all lies.